Okay, here we are. Ooh, I'm running a little late, you guys. I'm sorry. We had dinner and I was reading a book and I lost track of time, and the next thing you know, I'm flying up here. I've got like 3 minutes to go. So, hey, Rosie, thanks for joining. This is Tara with Tarabeth Stamps. I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator here in Missouri. Hopefully we don't have any problems with tonight's video. We're going to keep our fingers crossed. So tonight we're going to, hey, Karen, thanks for joining. Hey, Mary. We're going to do a double easel card using a couple of new products. And I haven't got my stamps mounted, but we'll get all that figured out. So we've got a couple of different items here. We have the Christmas Classic set. So this is actually like a whole suite of products that go together. I'm using the DSP. I'm using the 2 stamp sets. Yes, everybody understands. Yeah, it was a good one. So this is the Christmas Classic bundle. So this has some gorgeous dies that are going to make beautiful cards. I love this little square with the corners cut off. This is beautiful. And then it's got the long one that goes with it as well. And then I'm also using the Joy of Noel stamp set. Or die set. I didn't use the stamps, but I used the dies on this one. So these are the items that I'm using. And then it comes with this Joy of Christmas DSP. So this will be available September the 6th. So I'm just going to kind of give you a big look at some of these papers. Beautiful, beautiful Christmas DSP with those traditional Christmas colors. Hey, Angie, thanks for joining. So hopefully I don't have too much not done, and we can get this going. All right, so I'm going to set this out of the way. So we've got this cool double easel card, and I'm just going to set it up, kind of show you what it looks like, you know, from the side, or from the top view. And then this is going to be one of those cards that you're going to send to someone that may mean a little bit more to you than just sending your everyday Christmas cards. This is going to be something that they're going to put on their mantle. Hey, Johnny, thanks for joining. On their mantle, and it's gorgeous, gorgeous. So I love double easel cards. They're a lot of fun. And hopefully, I've got my notes here. All these dimensions will be available on my blog tomorrow. So what I have is I have a piece of shaded spruce cut at your normal card dimensions, 4 1/4 by 11, and I'm going to score it at 5 1/2. If I can find my take your pick tool with the, okay, and I can't, so we'll just use this. We're going to improvise. Oh, here it is. Good. Whew, with my stylus on the end. All right, so we're going to score this at 5 1/2. So this is your standard card base that we're starting with out of shaded spruce. Now I have a piece of 4" by 9 3/4 of cherry cobbler, and I am going to score that at 2 1/4 and 4 1/2. And I'm using my Simply Score tool here. And the reason that I use this when I'm doing these sorts of cards is I want a little more of a score mark. Hey, Lori, thanks for joining. We've got a whole crowd here tonight. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to fold our cherry cobbler. So we're going to fold it in half at first. And it's not quite in half. And then we're going to give it a nice strong burnish there. Then we're going to fold this down. And so this is what's going to make that mechanism that's going to pop it up. We'll go ahead and burnish, score, or fold in half and burnish this shaded spruce. So as I said, all of this is going to be available on my blog tomorrow. And for the first time today, I'm hot. I've been cold all day. All right. So I've got a piece of that gorgeous DSP. Look at the musing notes on the back of this, guys. I almost hate to cover it up. All right, and I'm going to put that right there. Oh, you know what? I forgot my mat. That's why it didn't look right. So we're going to mat this one on a little bit of shaded spruce. So this is going to be one of those cards that's going to definitely need extra postage. or a hand delivery because it is going to be pretty heavy because we've got so many layers going on. Now we're going to put it on the cherry cobbler. Now I'm getting the kind of look that I want. Okay, now I have another piece of shaded spruce. I'm just going to line this up and make sure I measured it right. Yeah, we're good. Because like I said, I think I cut this out at 7 o'clock. The weather here was kind of crummy today. It was a perfect day to be in your craft room all day long. Lots of rain, but man, we kind of need it. We've gone from drought to flood here in mid-Missouri and nothing flat. Okay. Yes, I'm going to have to buy more of this DSP, Mary. This one's going to be one that's going to get a lot of usage, I think. All right, line that up. So this is how we create our card base. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some Stampin' Seal on the back of this cherry cobbler. And I'm going to put a little more than what I normally do. So I normally do, you know, one on each side. Sometimes I do the top and bottom, not all the time. But this one I'm going to do a couple in the middle too. And the reason that I'm doing that is because this is going to be that stand-up mechanism, and I want to make sure that it's going to hold. All right, so I'm going to bring my card base, make sure I flip it up to make sure I've got it facing the right direction. Ask me why I know that, because I may or may not have put it upside down a time or two. I'm going to make sure I've got nice even edges, and I'm just going to give a nice seal there. So this is all it takes for your card base. So even if you want to change things up and what you're going to pop up and do on this, this is how you make that double easel card. All right. Now we're going to take a piece. I've already die cut a piece of basic white. And we're going to pull out the Deck the Halls stamp from the Christmas Classics collection. As I said, this is available September the 6th. We're going to ink it up really good with some cherry cobbler. I'm going to line this up with my grid paper because that helps me keep it lined. And so with stamps like this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to line up because that's going to make sure that I get it correct. Because if you tweak things so that the deck is correct, it's going to be crooked. So I'm going to look at that one group of letters that's straight across, and that's the one I'm going to do my stamping with. All right. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a small piece of basic white right here, and we're going to take these holly leaves here, and we are going to stamp those in with Memento ink. The reason I'm going to do this with a Memento ink is because I'm going to color it with my Stampin' Blends, and those are alcohol-based markers, so you need that pigment ink, I believe is what it's called, so that it doesn't run. So you just do a couple of these. And now I'm going to bring out my Old Olive dark blend, and I'm just going to run it along this vein. So the nice thing about when you're using the blends is when you have a stamp that gives you a little bit of like shading, use it to your advantage. So next I'm going to take the light color and I color in circles, and I'm going to go right over that dark coloring, and that's going to pull that out just a little bit. And that's going to give you some of that nice shading that the two different colors provide. And as I said, I normally color in circles because that way you get good coverage and you don't get dark lines. Okay. So luckily I did extra one of these this afternoon, so I've got some already die cut out here. Hopefully I can find them. All right, now I have die cut that big rectangular piece. Now we're going to need to clean it up a little bit. So I'm just popping out some of those pieces that didn't come out clean from my die. And those pop out pretty easily with your pokey end on your take your pick tool. This is probably my go-to item that I use on my craft desk more than anything else, is my take your pick tool. And I've got a couple, but the one that I really use the most has the pokey end on the end. I'm sure it's probably called something else other than the pokey end. My daughter would call it a stabber. She's a bit graphic sometimes though, so. All right, so I'm just poking out those little ends. You could also use one of the rollers ends, but I just like to clean that up that way. All right. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some Stampin' Dimensionals and I'm going to put those right there in the center. Now, I want to put like 2 in the center. Oops, that's not what I meant to do. Well, that's the way it's going to work. Oh, thank you, baby boy. Okay. So I've got 2 in the center and then I've got 2 in the corners. So the reason I'm doing that is because I'm going to stick other stuff underneath. And I want to make sure that I have room for it to stick out. So it looks like these are going to be on opposite sides, but that's okay. I think that's the way I wanted it earlier. Okay, I'm going to stick that down. So I've got dimensionals running this direction, which means that I can stick stuff underneath there with liquid adhesive. And I found my tweezers. That's pretty nice because I couldn't find them this afternoon. All right. So I've got a couple of these sprigs that I cut out from, which die set was this? This is from the Joy of Noel. So that's this piece right here. So that's why you're definitely going to want both sets because this is going to be something that you can mesh together really well. No, that's definitely not a doohickey, Mary. A doohickey is something else. I'm not sure what it is right now, but it's definitely not a doohickey. All right, so I'm going to lift this up just a little bit. I'm going to feed this under, and that way it's going to hang off a little bit to give it just a little bit. And actually, what I should probably do before I do that is adhere this to the front to make sure that I have enough space. So let's do 2 strips of seal right here, and let's put it on the card front. Okay, that'll work. There we go. All right, so you do have to be careful because you can get it. No, not a thingamabob either. It's definitely not that. You're all confused tonight. So Mary's on here tonight telling me that my pokey thing is a thingamabob or a doohickey. Okay, set that up there. And there we go. And what I do with my tweezers is I just kind of use those to kind of poke it down. That way I can make sure that that glue and adhesive is definitely sticking. All right, now here's my other 2 that I've worked out. And I have mini dimensionals that I'm going to use for these. So you can always use your half dimensionals or your minis. I like minis personally. I don't know why. I just like all things little. It's something. All right. We'll take that off. We'll take my tweezers and wheel it down there. And so you'll see that that corner just fits perfect. And that's going to be where we're going to put our gems at. Okay. So this pokey thing, or as Mary calls it, the doohickey, works really well to pull those backs off of your dimensionals. And then you can try to get them in the trash. Mine don't always end up in the trash. They sometimes end up on the dog. Dog plural, definitely dogs. Okay, so there's our card front. The only thing we're missing is these gorgeous little gems. And originally on the original card, I used the festive pearls. But that's because I couldn't find these little guys. And this comes with this suite, I believe, as well. So I'm just going to do just kind of a pretty good sized dollop of glue, because I'm hoping that I can pull out one of these gems. There we go. So this way we just have, there we go. These are quite a bit bigger. I don't know if I like that or not. I may like the little ones better. There we go. Come on, let go of it now. Okay, so definitely the way to go is to put the glue on the card. You use your sticky end on that take your pick tool. And there we go. Now let's do it on the other side. I'm gonna go ahead and put my 3 dollops there. Then we'll drop the gem, because that's what you do. It may have been better if I poured that in the lid. That's normally what I do when I've got these loose guys out here. There's a music note. So these are going to be fun for little shaker cards. This is also available with the suite, and it's going to be available on that September the 6th. So here's the card front. Gorgeous, 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 if I do say so myself. Fun, easy, doesn't take a whole lot of time. Now, let's cut a piece of basic white to put on the inside, because I don't think I did that. All right, so I'm going to cut this piece of basic white. What I normally do with my basic white is I cut all 4 pieces at the same time. So I'm going to line it up, cut it in half at the 5 1/2 marker, and then I'm going to cut it in half again at 4 1/4. I'm going to toss those to the side because I'm definitely going to use them in a little bit. And then I'm going to cut my edges off here because I'm cutting this at 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. Oop, looks like I cut a little more than that off. It'll be fine. It will be fine. All right, let's see what we did on the inside of this one. Oh, that's the new one. Ooh, yes, joy to you. I gotta grab that stamp set. All right, nope. What is the name of that stamp set? Well, we're just gonna do something from this one for this one, because I can't remember what I put on the inside there. That's what happens when you get new product. You forget, you don't remember the names of everything as quickly as you did before. All right, so we're going to ink this Tidings of Comfort and Joy on the front with some cherry cobbler. And then, you guys, I got all new Stampin' Blocks. Like, I'm not even kidding. I must have ordered Stampin' Blocks in my last 3 orders. They just kept coming and kept coming. I just must have thought I needed them so bad. I bought, I think, the bundle not once but twice. I have so many, it's not even funny. All right, so now I'm going to take that pine bough and stamp it a couple of times on the bottom, just to give that card just a little bit more on the inside. And then on the corner, And then let's bring out an envelope and do the same thing, because you definitely want it to look pretty on the front and on the back when it's delivered. So we'll put that there. Now let's glue this to the inside. All right, sorry I wasn't here last week. I forgot to make that announcement the week before. My niece got married last week. Wedding was beautiful, but it was up in towards St. Louis. So we were gone pretty much the whole day. All right, there's the card. Beautiful double easel card. Stunning, stunning, stunning. Now let's finish up and put a little bit of DSP on the outside of this envelope, and we will be done for the week. Don't forget my paper share. That is going to be available for another 2 weeks, I believe. And then I'm going to close that out. There are limited spots, so if you want in on that product paper share, you probably want to get in sooner rather than later. It's a great way to sample all of this merchandise from the mini catalog for a quarter of the price. And then you know what you want to buy. Nothing's worse than getting a 12 by 12 pack of paper or a couple that you thought that you would love, and then when you touch it, you don't love it as much as you want to. And then nothing's better than seeing it in the catalog and seeing it being used, and it's like, oh yeah, that's kind of pretty. But then touching it and seeing it, and it's so much better. That's normally what happens more than you don't like it. All right, there's today's card. Thanks for spending part of your weekend with me. I appreciate it. We'll see you right back here next week at 7 o'clock. Have a great week.